What's up, guys, and welcome back to the game on Invitational. This is going to be the third best of 3 of the tournament. We're going to have another part of the single elimination best of 3, so it is rather grueling, be fought between the Rebels and PRIES. Winner of this, well, moves on. Loser of this, obviously, does not. They don't know who their opponent is going to be just yet, however. I'm Mike Laura is going to be joined today by Danily Cast. How you doing?
Pretty good. Just had some dinner, so I'm good to go.
I haven't had anything to eat today except for like a thing of yogurt. I'm so hungry right now.
Why did you not eat anything before this?
So I was casting on with Rage. There's no time to eat.
Okay.
There's no time for
Okay.
food. Only Dota.
I guess that's fine though. Dota's going to be good enough for you or sustain you for the rest of these series, hopefully.
I
But
don't know.
I don't really know too much about PRIES or Rebels. I have casted a couple of PRIES games, but I still haven't really gotten a feel of both of these squads as of yet. Do you have any sort of hints you can throw at me, as well as some of the newer people that could be watching this series?
For PRIES, no, because the PRIES that was existing like 3 weeks ago is not the PRIES that we're seeing now. I'm not really sure what happened to their draft, but this is almost an entirely new crew of people. So I don't really know if many people actually know that much about them, or at least the PRIES that I know is not the one that's actually going to be playing. Whereas for the Rebel side, a lot of big names here. I mean, Vangskor, Seedoy, Metrum, Tame My Wild, or Crazy if you prefer. Not really sure what he prefers. I don't know who that last guy is, but Rebels, if you look at the remaining teams in the tournament, Spider Pigs Pro Dota, Rebels, and then, well, the winner of the next match, Rebels probably the favorites to win, just looking at the bracket. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for PRIES, as they are not exactly favored skill-wise alone, and experience-wise, Rebels should also have that one in their lead as well, but we'll see if they're able to win in the draft, because they have a rather interesting opening, banning out the Night Stalker, taking Slaughter with IO against Beastmaster Disruptor.
You could tell already right off the bat for Rebels, they've already got a strategy in mind. You've got Beastmaster to provide vision, and now you've got the Disruptor. A hero that needs vision, all of a sudden, you're going to have access to Glimpse. Such a good spell as well up against the Wisp. Silence is great too. There's actually a lot of control right off the bat here for Rebels. And the nature of Disruptor in general is this hero always wants to be in an aggressive posture. You never want to play defensive with this hero. Unfortunately, it's just not fit to play a defensive style of Dota that we're so used to seeing with a lot of other popular supports. So knowing Rebels, they're going to be right off the bat from the minute one trying to get control of these lanes, I presume. Whereas for PRIES, you can already tell there's going to be global presence. That's fine. You've got minus armor to help scale the IO partner. I feel like we're going to have to wait and see what these next two picks are before we can really sort of pull apart their draft. But you can tell right now that they also want to be in a position to be able to pressure Rebels.
Now, this is a pretty interesting draft phase, not so much through the picks as much as the bans. Necrophos being banned out is a rarity to say the least. I think sometimes you'll see him in that 5th box, but very, very rarely, and in any other box it's almost unheard of. So not really sure if I'm a huge fan of that one from the Rebels squad. Necrophos Slardar is awkward, since Slardar is pure pure physical, Necrophos is pure magical. You don't really want to be pulling in 2 separate directions if you can help it. But yeah, the IO is definitely going to help the Slaughter, and Eventual Spirit to hold down the fort, since IO is kind of weaker support. Pretty reasonable coming out from PRIES. But I mean, Rebels Beastmaster obviously is situated pretty decently, and now he has 2 heroes at least that he could very easy solo kill once he gets his Necro book up. And Disruptor, of course, with that Glimpse, and Static Storm is a pain in the ass for both the IO and the Slaughter. So I feel like Rebels, their overall strength of heroes just a notch higher than that of PRIES, and PRIES have to lean a little bit more on this minus armor synergy to really take them through this game.
Absolutely. I'm actually rather curious, what hero are they going to pick with that's going to be able to scale with this negative armor strat along with the Slaughter? Could we possibly be seeing something along the lines of a CK if they want to delve deeper into this minus armor strat? There's always going to be the Tiny as well. Sven got banned out, obviously a great hero to pick up as well. Are there any other heroes that could potentially stick out for you and might be picked up here for PRIES?
We've been seeing a lot of Lifestealer recently, which does rather well with all the amplification, and I mean, it's a Desolator hero also, so more minus armor, that's always fun. But it may make the lanes potentially a little bit awkward for the PRIES side. It makes the IO almost feel a little bit redundant since you have the access of initiation through just Slaughter alone. And that's why I'm generally not a huge fan of just an early IO pick. I feel like you can probably pick him up third, even or third, fourth, or maybe even fifth situationally, and that will really catch the other team off guard more often than not. But as it stands right now, Chaos Knight probably near the top of that list, but not by much. Puck, not the hero that I was thinking of, but I was thinking about IO partners. Puck is a reasonable one, although it may be an off-lane Puck. I'm thinking like IO dual lanes, how that's going to work for PRIES, but they can just easily put the Puck in mid.
If this is a mid puck, this actually is hinting more towards the lifestealer that you're mentioning earlier. We've been seeing so many teams go for this puck lifestealer bomb combination, and it does work to great effect. But in this series, you said before, like, I'm not too sure if a lifestealer is going to be fitting too well. As Rebels, they actually snagged the DK. This is a hero that's been receiving a lot more attention recently as teams have been experimenting, and also with the buff to strength heroes in general. And we've seen a lot of positive results so far with the DK. And I feel like he fits quite nicely into the Rebels draft as well. The hero, he can sort of offset all this minus armor because he's got all this natural armor in himself. So I feel like this could be an okay DK game for Rebels.
Yeah, you may think that like minus armor is good versus the heavily armored hero, a Dragonite, and it's kind of true, but usually it's just like cast magical spells at him, and then you just get around the armor issue entirely. And to that extent, you have Puck and a Magic Missile and like IO Spirits. It's not really that much magical burst that the DK has to deal with. If he grabs a BKB, he's going to be rather immovable for the PRIES side, and not to mention all the support he's going to have behind him through Beastmaster auras and whatnot. So I don't really see this Dragonite punished in lane to the extent where he's not going to get anything. The matchup versus Puck is perfectly reasonable. Maybe up against an IO dual lane, he'll struggle up against certain heroes, but even then, Breathe Fire on 2 heroes is pretty legit. And if you could CS every time you Breathe Fire, then with the Earth Spirits rotations, you can actually go back on the aggressive fairly easily. So this Dragonite's going to be pretty hard, I think, for PRIES to actually handle. And then how do they handle everything else? How do they handle this roaming Earth Spirit? It seems like PRIES, they may suffer from a little bit of a lack of early game presence here, mainly because of this IO selection. It isn't really doing anything for them at this point.
I actually want to touch a little bit more into this Breathe Fire, because now that you think about it, if you look at PRIES' lineup, their right click so far is not looking too attractive. Yes, they've got minus armor, but it's not the best. They don't have the best heroes in terms of physical right clicks. DK's Breathe Fire actually mitigates a lot of their potential damage that they could be doing if they get hit by that. So this is actually a really good play for Rebels to pick up this DK, because he's essentially preventing PRIES from potentially doing what they could be doing in terms of physical right clicks. So I kind of looking at this at DK pick, and it's just looking even better and better so far.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those like kind of smaller aspects of the spell, like Fade Bolt. It's an AoE damage tool, but it also reduces damage, and then it like kind of sneaks in there, and sometimes it's irrelevant, and sometimes it's like, oh my god, Fade Bolt, minus damage, that's insane. But Breathe Fire is a little bit harder hitting than that, and ooh, hell yeah, okay, I'm all in on the CK. No matter what, I'm in for the CK, but Rebels, their last pick is going to be a Juggernaut. As far as the AoE is concerned, on the PRIES side, they don't really have all that much. The AoE control is fine with the Puck, with the Slaughter Crush, but as far as being able to... wait, what the hell am I talking about? On the Rebel side, never mind, I'm crazy and hungry. Scratch that. Chaos Knight, the pick for Rebels. Lane-wise is going to be perfectly reasonable, and for Rebels, they have a little bit of AoE, but Juggernaut, Omni-Slash, Breathe Fire, it's not really going to be the best to clear out CK illusions, especially CK with minus armor, who can cleave through heroes very quickly, to say the least. We already see CK, like, legit one-shotting heroes with the Phantasm without minus armor. Add amplified damage on that, yeah, you're dead. Super dead.
The biggest con for picking up the CK though is that this hero can absolutely not farm for crap. So picking this hero up, you're going to have to see the CK consistently moving around the map, actively looking for kills, and if not kills, objectives. If they can't secure these objectives or heroes early, I feel like this is just going to be such a huge slump in what PRIES could be achieving with this hero. They have to make this work from minute one. They have to have a good laning phase. They have to control Rebels as soon as possible, because Rebels' draft can definitely snowball if you let them. They've got super annoying heroes as well. Like, Vanscore is going to be a pain in the butt for the CK Wisp already, just because he's going to force them into weird positions to avoid getting hit with the kicks and the rolling boulders already. So it'll be a difficult game for PRIES. This is the first time I've seen them, or you said this is a new draft, so I haven't seen this new draft before. Let's see if they can perform.
They've been playing a lot of the Pro Dota Cup. That's where they've been playing the most. Haven't been really paying a ton of attention to that one. So, yeah, I kind of hope that PRIES can give us a good showing, but they really have this early game kind of level 1 phase with this overall powerful hero of the CK, where that's like a large surge of power above the enemy squad, and then once they get Blink Dagger on Puck Slaughter, that's going to be another large leap in power, which is fine and everything. But if you look at the Rebels squad, level 6 in the DK is always going to be pretty nice. Omni Slash, Roar, and then they scale just slightly better, I feel, than the enemy side. Maybe this IO's global mobility is going to give Rebels situationally a little bit of issues split push wise, but with the DK and Juggernaut, brute forcing towers is actually not that hard for the Rebels squad. Like, Dragon Knight's damage and tankiness with the healing ward is pretty ridiculous, not to mention Beastmaster for the same reasons. So, I don't know, I feel like Rebels have a little bit of a stronger kind of brute force lineup compared to the PRIES side, but we'll see. I'm always okay with being pleasantly surprised at how a draft actually turns out. But, yeah, everyone's going to load out to their lanes, and for the most part, it's lanes as to be expected. Safe lane, Io, CK, Vengeful Spirit is incredibly dangerous, though, and Beastmaster, probably Iron Talon is needed.
Definitely needed. The good thing, though, is that Seedoy doesn't need to... He doesn't even have to go into the off lane once he sees this. He can just go straight into the jungle. If they were running something like a Tide Hunter or even some other weird offlane that couldn't jungle, then that definitely would have prevented Rebels' offlane from really getting a good start. So sort of this Beastmaster, he's not going to be completely shut down. I'm actually rather curious if they consider rotating for him. Like, in my mind, I don't really feel like that's going to be a thing just because it's a CK Wisp. If you see any of those heroes missing, you know they are ganking.
I mean, driving the Beastmaster off of the wave is going to be pretty nice, of course, for the IO just to focus up on his stacks. Vengeful Spirit's going to get caught in a corner versus the Beastmaster. It's got 2 boars up, but level 1 boars have a lot to be desired. They do 30 damage to the Vengeful Spirit with like 6 shots. So yeah, that'll show her. Seedoy, though, is going to grab the Iron Talon. His camp on the side should be blocked at least once by this Vengeful Spirit just with her body. Looks like she's going to stick around to do that. And then, who knows, maybe going to drop the Sentry Ward afterwards. So, Beastmaster probably is going to have to ship out and go over towards his more traditional jungle area. But, yeah, we'll see if the IO and Vengeful Spirit are able to get anything done in the meantime. Because that's really the luxury that the PRIES side have right now, is that the supports don't actually have to lane. They could just jungle and pull and stack and whatnot.
Yeah, Seedoy's abandoned the lane, so he's just gone straight into the jungle. So, yeah, I would definitely like to see the Vengeful Spirit go for a rotation. I think the question is, oh, geez, we didn't see that kill coming.
It was just a tether into chase down on a disruptor. Thunderstrike is a good damaging spell, I suppose, but up against Bottle IO, you can't escape the slaughter because essentially he's got sprint, and now he's level 2, so he may actually have sprint, and they just get run down. However, they're going to roll back in, looking for some retaliation. IO's off to the side, but she can just jump over to the slaughter, and she'll just do just that, or it will do just that. With level 1 Disruptor, the offensive power of this Rebels lane is not that high. They need at least level 2 if they're going to return fire.
Do you think they're going to be able to kill off this Slaughter Wisp lane?
Yeah, with the Glimpse and Spin, they can. It's definitely possible, although difficult. If you can just force the IO to use bottle charges every time you use Glimpse, then that's generally pretty good, because the Juggernaut's still going to be farming in the meantime, farming a lot more comfortably than the Slaughter.
That's very true. And also, we've got Vanscore that's sitting in the bottom lane. What is Vanscore's role here? We're normally used to seeing Earth Spirits roaming around trying to help out the other lanes, but is Vanscore down here to maybe just secure this bottom lane for the Juggernaut and then considering to move out? Or is he just going to stick around for a little bit and then leave the lane?
And the issue here for Vangscore is that the mid lane is a Puck, who is like the hardest hero to gank as an Earth Spirit, because even if you do land something, you have to land a Geomag Grip afterwards just to get rid of the phase shift and the orb out, and odds are Mastermind's going to be able to orb out anyway, so it seems like Vangscore is stuck on this bottom lane. He's probably going to take that 4 position kind of pulling, stacking, Phoenix-esque type role for the lane, and that's not exactly ideal, but at the same time, like, what are your other options? You either stick on this bottom lane or you try to go top. Good luck doing that. If Beastmaster can't do top, Earth Spirit definitely can't do top.
It would have been good if they were able to put Vangscore up top, but as you said, it's just too risky to put him up there. So outside of that, looks like bottom's going to be a little bit quiet now, as everyone on the side of the Dire has sort of abandoned that bottom lane. Was that mid is the only one that's really going to have any sort of action? All the safe lanes are just completely abandoned by the off lanes. Mastermind up against the DK. DK is looking really good, but Puck is running his tail. They're about equal in terms of CS. And unfortunately for us, I really don't see anything happening mid either. It's like all the lanes are so safe for either side. It just depends on who decides to go for these rotations.
Especially with Tame My Wild's build, like level 1 Breathe Fire, no tail, 2 Dragon Blood. This is not an aggressive build, even if he does get a rotation from like 2 of his allies like we're seeing right now. Puck actually did use his orb beforehand, so they're going to stun him up as well, but he'll have an orb in the end to escape. But no, they leveled up Dragon Tail. I was going to come in, the Puck will jaunt out. I mean, that was actually the perfect time to go for that Puck gank, and even then, not enough damage to kill him off because of that ridiculousness of the orb and the phase shift. And of course the IO coming in as well. So Rebels don't get anything done over in mid. But yeah, it seems like we're going to have just a passive phase, in which case CSing is going to be at a premium, in which case the Beastmaster grabbing the Iron Talon and being able to jungle is actually very relevant. His CS is pretty high, although his net worth, probably won't reflect that. On the other end, Slaughter is going to start doing the same thing, but I feel like Beastmaster, they've gotten a little bit of a head start here, so Rebels may be looking at a faster level 6 on the Beastmaster, and level 6 on Beastmaster is definitely a lot more impactful than a level 6 Slaughter.
Is there a point where the Wisp may consider jungling with Mikey, so you can at least speed up the farm for the Slaughter? Because as you said, Beastmaster is such a good farmer in himself because he's got all the summons, whereas for the Slaughter, he's got Iron Talon, but he doesn't have any summons, he doesn't have the attack speed boost to work with either. It feels like a good option if they do bring the Wisp in to help him.
Yeah, I think that'll be reasonable for... You don't want to, like, always shadow the Slaughter, since he does need his experience, he still wants that level 6. But, like, if the IO really doesn't have anything better to do, like, right now he's on bottom lane, he'll grab, like, a half a wave there. There's nothing really for him to do elsewhere. So he might as well just keep stacking up and occasionally join with the Slaughter, or whoever's clearing out the stacks, rather, in order to get some of the experience there, because Amplify damage is great, but Relocate's pretty great as well. It just seems like so many of these lanes are dead in this game, which is very rare to see. Usually we have, heroes in all lanes, because there's 3 lanes and there should be heroes in all of them.
Well, there technically are heroes in all of them, just not enough from either side. You got one side occupying one lane, you got the other side occupying one lane, and then all of a sudden, that's pretty much about it. So, Sino has actually come back into that top lane. He's almost level 6 as well. Looks like he's feeling a little bit safer up here, but he doesn't have mana. So if there's any point in time where he gets jumped on by the CK Venge, I believe he's going to die anyway, even though he's sitting at a relatively good HP pool.
They're going to jump in mid towards the Puck. They already used the Dragon Tail. Breathe Fire not going to connect. Now the Crush is here with the teleport in from the Venge as well. Tame My Wild to fall. Dragon Knight, Earth Spirit trying desperately to make something happen. Just trying to jam up the Puck's farm, although I don't really think that's really necessary. Like, the Dragon Knight's getting an adequate amount of farm as well. If you get the kill, you might just get the tower with the ultimate on the DK, but the risk of running into TPs is quite high. Now Seedoy, the Venge is actually going to walk right by. Did the Venge not see that? I don't think she did. Nighttime and everything, so
yeah.
The Venge is blind, but Seedoy is going to be fine regardless, but it's still kind of like a suicidal play over towards mid, with DK having 2 points in the Dragon Blood. His offensive power right now isn't actually that high. His right-click damage is mediocre. Breathe Fire isn't leveled up. So, yeah, I'm not really sure about that play from the Rebel squad.
It's just the nature of DK. Up until he gets the first couple of items, he is very lackluster. Like, he's pretty much only there for Dragon Tails and Breathe Fires when he's there without the Dragon form. So, What do you think it could be here for the DK? Is it just going to be the standard armlet build that we normally see, or could you see something else here for Tame My Wild?
Yeah, I'm liking the armlet build. I think like that item is just so ridiculously strong nowadays that if you're a strength hero, you're at least considering the armlet. And I think there's no reason not to get it in this game. So yeah, I would like to see that after the power treads. Adds a little bit of mixed survivability together with the Juggernaut's healing ward. You can do some pretty ridiculous things. Up towards top lane, they're going to roar in onto Supercell. There is no swap here from the Vengeful Spirit. They will Boulder Smash onto 2. And that will give Juggernaut enough time to kill off the CK. Glimpse, is there vision? Doesn't seem like there is. There's no observe wards here either, so Io and Venge will successfully escape. That is a pretty nice kill on a pretty big target, the free farming Chaos Knight. However, it does involve a TP from pretty much everyone on Rebels, so that kill was not for free.
That was a wonderful kick from Vanscore as well, just getting that immediate silence onto the Wisp. So having that silence meant that Wisp, unfortunately, even if he attempted to go for a tether there, the ZK would have definitely died. If he didn't get silenced, I actually feel like the CK may have had a chance to survive a little bit longer, or maybe they would have lost the Wisp instead of that CK. But for Vanscore, props to him for getting that amazing kick and silence off onto that Wisp. Looks like mid lane, Tame My Wild is really showing poor Mastermind here, who's the bigger dragon, the fairy dragon by himself, not really able to accomplish much, whereas the rest of his team is actually up top, so it looks like both squads, they're trying to at least chip away at some of these towers. Top will go down. Mid is looking too healthy. I feel like this is not going to be taken down without a fight.
Oh, there's a fight maybe brewing up towards top lane. Immediate Omni Slash, pretty much doing nothing up against the Helm of Iron Will. Now the pullback with Reality Rift, and Oxen has definitely overstepped his boundaries, but a nice kick again from Vangscore is going to bail him out. Cedo is going to arrive kind of bluffing there because he doesn't have enough mana for a roar, but either way, Juggernaut goes in ham, does pretty much nothing, and almost dies. Tame My Wild, though, over in mid lane, is going to get left behind as everyone else left him alone to push that mid lane, and Mastermind drops a coil, the Slaughter sprints in, they get a DK after all is said and done, so it is a win for PRIES by the end of it, 1-3, as Rebels not really able to mount any sort of coordinated play there. If they Omni Slash with a roar or with a kinetic field or just having allies there, then I could see Rebels getting away with that, but just Juggernaut making that play by himself was not the right one.
If anything, you've got to give Vanscore 2 MMR bucks right there. That's like the second time this game he's gotten such a crucial spell off to not only save his ally, but the first one was to secure a very quick kill without losing their primary target. So if anything, you're going to be keeping an eye on Vanscore in this game. He's been so on point with setting up a lot of these kills for his teammates. If he can keep this up, I feel like it might be a little bit too overwhelming for PRIES because their team, they've got some decent heroes in terms of survivability, but you ideally don't want to be using it to just try to run away from Rebels. Like, if anything, Rebels is going to be amazing at chasing heroes, especially with an Earth Spirit, and in particular, the Disruptor with the Glimpse. That spell is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, now he has the Static Storm as well, so locking down a Puck is entirely viable. He has a better response to the relocate from the IO. Once that comes up, you see the little glowing thing on the ground, you just put a cage around it, drop some lightning on it, and you're usually good to go. Up towards top lane, Seedoy feels pretty comfortable until suddenly CK, 3-second stun is there with the Puck rotating in. Dead Beastmaster in a hurry up towards top lane, had an observe ward to his south, so he thought he was safe, but he was very wrong. They lose the Beastmaster, however, they do gain a tower for this on the mid lane, so not an unreasonable trade for the Rebels to take, especially with Tame My Wild grabbing that last hit. Is now going to use his Invis rune and has a collision course with the Puck. Now the DK can't do this by himself, and Mastermind, yeah, he's going to pull back. I think he actually drew in the jungle, so he knew that was coming. Over towards bottom lane, they're going to jump in towards the Venge. They kick him, they don't spin him out, however. Even with the ward watching for any rotations, I feel like they could have gone a little bit deeper for that kill.
I think they were also worried that there could have been a relocate coming out from the Wisp and CK if they committed. So maybe that's the reason why they wanted to back out. Just because with them two by themselves, they can definitely get taken down very quickly. Looks like we have a scan in the top lane just to scout out where some of these Rebel heroes are, and they do spot out Seedoy at least. So scans being thrown out. A little bit of intel for both sides, but nothing that is really going to be giving anything away. About 12 minutes into the game, and if we take a look at net worth, we've got the CK as well as the Puck on top, looking really good here for the Dire. This is the momentum that they need to maintain throughout the rest of the game. And it's not just net worth, but they need to slow down the progression of this DK. and Juggernaut, because even though there's such an early peak here for the Dire squad, the same thing can be said for the Radiant. Like, Jug's not a hero that needs to passively farm for the next 20 to 30 minutes. He can come online early if you build him in that direction. So, if anything, they need to maintain this lead, and they got to start getting some of these relocate ganks going. Like, Dream Coil is ready on Mastermind.
And they have to make sure to use this net worth to get more net worth in the form of Blink Daggers. Like, even though the Dire have a net worth lead right now, Puck is doing pretty well for himself, and Slaughter is doing very well also. There's no Blink Dagger just yet, so all their net worth is kind of tied up into just gold, and that isn't helping him right now. So if they're able to get fast Blink Daggers, then the game is definitely going to change. The Healing Ward's going to get sniped, Mastermind silenced, Glimpse is available, really short, Static Storm is going to drop a Kinetic Field, completely botches. The Isle's going to jump in, but way too far. Without allies is gonna fall. Supercell's gonna rejoin the fight with the orb jumping in as well from Mastermind. Supercell's still alive, though the DK will bring him down. It's a 2-for-2 exchange so far. Tame My Wild Armlet with a double damage rune gonna keep him alive, although he has to be careful. Mute's gonna wander in one more time. He's got another magic missile. Cage is there onto the Vengeful Spirit, but the damage from the DK, even with double damage, is not quite enough. He'll turn around one more right click. Will grab the kill there. Armlet, will it save him from this? It seems like he'll get another run on the Armlet as the Blink Crush misses. Tame My Wild still alive, has another Dragon Tail. Breathe Fire also available. Seedoy trapped in the trees right now. Not sure if he really wants to do up against Slaughter, but actually it's going to be Vangscore to return to the bottom lane engagement, as will the Io, however, and they'll burst down the DK with the orb. Now Vangscore caught in a corner, will land a really nice silence onto 2, but it isn't going to help him up against the right clicks. Io's going to grab that last hit, and Seedoy somehow is still here. He hasn't been doing anything, except now he has to leave. Spirits are going to see him. I don't think they have enough stuns, and he will get out of there, but it's a massive play from this Puck in particular, landing some pretty high value spells, and Metrum's gonna glimpse the IO back. He's got a tether out, so he's just fine. That glimpse was not the best, but all things considered, Rebels don't take the worst fight in the world after completely botching their Disruptor combo. Like, you'd think it would be just disaster from there on out, and it was still pretty bad, but hey, at least they get some kills.
Mastermind made such huge plays in the tail end of that. It was actually a bit of a weird play in that fact that he went in for the final right click. Now, he thought he was going to be able to get that armlet toggle from the DK, and he lives for that little bit longer. Did that make sense to you? Like, did you feel like you knew what Mastermind was doing? Was he trying to bait the DK to keep on fighting, or was it unintentional and it was just off the back of that really good toggle from the DK that kept him up?
Well, first of all, they're going to jump in one more time over towards bottom. The ultimate from the Earth Spear completely misses. So that's a big tool down the tubes. I think the Puck was trying to play some games with the DK and trying to just time out the Armlet. If he can get the solo kill, fine. But he also knew that the IO was back from the dead and was very quickly returning to this bottom lane engagement. So he knew that if he stalls out, fine. If he gets the kill because DK messes up, even better. The ultimate downside is he gets caught with the Dragon Tail into immediate Vangscore teleportation in, and that was close to happening. But yeah, for Mastermind, he really just took the safe route, I think, of get the kill or have IO come in and then get the kill. Really not that much risk associated with it. So it is PRIES to take a little bit of an early lead now, and the most important end result of that last fight is that now they have net worth translating into real items. Blink Dagger on Slaughter, Blink Dagger on Puck as well. Whereas for the Rebels side, they have decent items coming up. Necro Book on the Beastmaster, there's Armlet on the DK. Looks like Battle Theory being built by the Juggernaut, but not nearly as big as Blink Dagger's 16 minutes in the game. They're going to get a long glimpse back onto the Puck, immediately into a silence from Vangscore. They're going to kick him in the face, and Beastmaster will grab the last hit. Now that's what I was looking for this entire game. It's probably the first glimpse usage of Disruptor that was really on point.
There are moments like this when you sort of wish phase shift would prevent you from being glimpsed back. Such a weird interaction, but not really much that the Puck was going to be able to do there. Without the help of his team, with 4 heroes on top of him, there's no way he was going to get out of that regardless. So bottom tower, going to be a nice, easy snipe here for Rebels. What's the plan here now for PRIES? It looks like they want to go for a smoke. They've got 4 heroes grouped up together, heading down towards that bottom lane. This could go either way, honestly. Even though there's an item advantage here for PRIES, Rebels, they are fully capable of executing this to the best, and they honestly could take this if they get the better end of the stick in terms of initiation.
The AoE is in favor here of the Rebel squad. Jump in. Mikey's immediately going to get Dragon Tailed and Omni Slash. And then Breathe Fire is going to be taken down. Mastermind in the meantime, completely alone. Static stormed up. It's just Supercell with the Vengeful Spirit trying to take on everybody. The Owl's going to yank him out, though. They're not going to lose their CK just yet. However, they may lose their Vengeful Spirit. Left without backup is going to fall. That's going to be a double kill for Tame Wild, probably a third soon, as the IO is going to return with or without the CK. Probably going to die anyway. He's going to try to tether out, actually, and there's no Dragon Tail in range. I thought for sure that would be in range. They have a glimpse. They're going to yank him back closer to the tower, and now there's a Dragon Tail and the beatdown. Mastermind's now going to jump in, though. No Static Storm keeping him out with a crush from Mikey. They're going to keep the IO alive for a little while longer. Roy's finally deployed, but now the CK is going to return 4-second stun onto Tame with the amplified damage there. They're going to just try to race him down, and they will do so. Spin TP out from the Juggernaut's going to fail, and the Disruptor can't do anything else either. The reinforcement route from PRIES is there. Now Mikey's chasing forward, lands a crush into Metrum, gets glimpsed back afterwards, but the puck is hot on the tail of the Disruptor. Help coming in from the kick from Vangscore, getting Metro maybe a little bit more space. There's a field to put up, but the Slaughter has another Blink Dagger right about now. Mana for Crush is just short. Jump in, Mastermind not quite gonna get the kill, but one more right click will. Now the question of Vangscore, actually, can they get the Earth Spirit as well? He's got a Boulder Smash, that's about it. However, he's gonna land onto Mastermind, roll in towards him, grab the kill on the puck, and then die afterwards. 8-15, and Rebels, even though they get the perfect counter initiation on the Slaughter with the tail being cast beforehand, they still don't get enough done because of that yank out from the IO.
They overstayed their welcome. That was probably the biggest thing, right? They could have actually been able to back out, be happy with their winnings if they really wanted to, but no, they wanted a little bit more. They got out mind gamed in terms of greed. They get punished so badly as well. They're not falling that behind in terms of net worth. Like, that's the good news here for Rebels. They're actually looking pretty good. The only heroes that are actually relatively farmed on the side of PRIES is the CK as well as the puck. The Slaughter is slowly falling behind, but this is, unfortunately, this is normal for Slaughter, as he may go down. Oh, that's not even maybe. He's going down.
He just walks right into a roar. Not much you can do about that as Slaughter, except for have incredibly fast reflexes and Blink Dagger available to you, but even then, you're walking back into an Observer Ward and you're going to get glimpsed back, so he was dead no matter what there, and they will get their tower in the end, so Rebels, I guess, claiming a slight win after all is said and done. They are still working with a lot of brute force pushing power, which was what I was alluding to earlier. Like, Seedoy now has the maxed out Necro book. They have pick-off power, at least good enough to force some sort of response from the IO pretty much every single time, so Rebels can still force these objectives, but yeah, for the PRIES side now, it's just keep the CK alive and keep him farming. His BKB is almost done. He's already got the armlet, but Puck and Slardar, they're doing their jobs to a T, but as far as getting better at anything, these two heroes pretty much hit a wall for quite a long time now. They're not going to have another surge in power until they get their next items, and that's going to be, for both of them, quite a long ways away.
Absolutely. And also, if you take a look at the tower situation, Rebels, they've taken more towers than PRIES has. It's supposed to be the other way around. Like, PRIES is supposed to be the team that's controlled the map up, but just because of how these fights go and also just the nature of their draft, they can't out-push Rebels. Rebels are so fast just because they've got the Necro units, a Beastmaster. Like, even the Juggernaut's a pretty good pusher as well, just because he's hitting relatively hard. He's finished up his Battle Fury, by the way. Whereas for PRIES, like, every single time they win a team fight, Rebels have actually done a really good job at... Oh, dear, Seedoy. Actually, he died so quick.
Yeah, he runs into a puck, immediate relocate afterwards. Help kind of close, but not close enough. So they lose the Beastmaster, but those are the type of things that you would expect from PRIES. Just those, like, one random hero pickoffs. That'll be enough to defend their towers, because... as far as taking down structures on the PRIES side, they're not the fastest, but they're really good at getting the pickoffs before the 5-man is assembled, like we just saw. But even then, it might be a little bit too late for that. They're going to lose a top tier 1, and for Rebels, 15 seconds to wait for a Beastmaster probably can just slow siege this one out. Alternatively, just YOLO Elder Dragon form on the DK and try to just brute force it down by himself, although he's going to be reality pulled back. He blinks out of it before the damage is done. 2-second stun is there. Where are his allies? They all left him, actually. And now Tame Wild has to deal with the BKB CK. He's going to try to teleport out. That's not going to happen. He's going to fall. He pulls out a 10-second BKB charge from the Chaos Knight. But I feel like everyone got a memo from Rebels to fall back, except for the DK. His got lost in the mail.
Maybe he didn't have a letterbox to begin with. Who knows? I don't think knights actually read letters, but what the heck. Unfortunate for
DK's
him,
smart
but
enough for that.
I don't know. He's part dragon. Dragons don't get mail,
Well, dragons are intelligent, notoriously intelligent, so
but they don't get mail.
that's true. They usually eat their mail carriers. Trust us, guys. We know. We know these things. If you read the lore, you would know too. It's all in the lore. But yeah, they lose their Dragonite, so it's 10 seconds on the sidelines. But I mean, the kill on the Dragonite, though it is very, very nice for the PRIES squad, is not going to free them up to do really anything objective-wise. No towers to be claimed, no Roshan attempted. And for Rebels, the Dragonite's now back. His DP's not up, but it seems like they're going to look to continue this aggressive playstyle because they have Roar up, and they have Omnislash. They have all their ultimates. They didn't use the Elder Dragon form for the top lane. They're going to smoke up without their DK. This is incredibly risky here from the Rebel squad. Orb is not going to see them. Bank score going to roll in. Silence Mastermind, that's it though. And now that should just about be it. But at least now for Rebels, they didn't get into a fight, so they can now reinforce with their Dragonite. They have Hawk overhead, giving them vision of the Puck. They see the Vengeful Spirit. Should they see the Slaughter as well? They're going to need a Blink Dragon Tail or a Flank Roar in order to make this really happen. Or a glimpse back. I'm not sure if they have the vision for that. Supercell's on the front lines right now. Beastmaster poking in. This is a delicate situation to say the least. Supercell gonna get roared up. Necro units popped. And the immediate swap out. And actually yank out the Vengeful Spirit. This is fantastic for Rebels. They're going to try to drive away everyone else. This is where Disruptor is king. You just drop a Static Storm right in the front and kill off whoever is going to come back with the IO. If it's just IO alone, great. If not, you take whoever is there as well. The IO is going to be very quickly dealt with. Supercell going to pop his BKB and try to go in, but he has to just use it to retreat, and there's a glimpse waiting for him as soon as that BKB runs out. It's 9 seconds, so it's going to take a long time, but you're coming right back into the clutches of the Dragonite, into a Dragon Tail, and a slash from the Juggernaut. That's a 2-kill for Rebels, and another kill on the way, perhaps, so they jump in for the Vengeful Spirit. Mikey's gonna get stunned in before he can land the Crush. The spin is there as well. Field goes up a little bit late, so they will not... Oh, they will get the Vengeful Spirit with the damage over time from the Dragon Knight. Nice kill again from Rebels. Glimpse back on a Mastermind. No follow-up to that one. But PRIES, they've been taking the fight so well until this last one, until the most important fight where they crumble.
Especially with this fight happening so close to their base as well. Like, this is 25 minutes in, and their Raxes are just going down as if this has been a 40-minute game. That just goes to show how quick the pushes happen, as well as the... It was like this just the biggest misplay on the Wisp, but he was just too trigger happy. They thought they were actually going to engage on the Vengeful Spirit after they went in for the supposed swap save, and being trigger happy. It cost them Raxes. A mistake like that again, I feel like they may have just lost the entirety of this game. I really don't see PRIES being able to come back in a comfortable fashion anytime soon, unless they somehow pick out some major mistakes that Rebels could potentially make. But the way that Rebels have been playing, they haven't really made that many errors, or they haven't made any major critical errors that have cost them major components of this game yet.
Yeah, losing a hero from time to time is acceptable. Like, shit happens. It's going to happen occasionally. As long as you don't lose towers or Roshan afterwards, it's fine to absorb that loss. They will, however, this time lose Roche between the minus armor and Chaos Strike from Supercell. It's going to be pretty easy, although the Boulder Kick is going to come in, stun a couple. Tame Wild is going to jump in as well. With the Dragon Form, he's going to look to steal. The Pseudo is going to jump in, roar up the Vengeful Spirit. Aegis is snatched by the CK at the end of it, but can he actually use it because the Static Storm is down? They lose the Vengeful Spirit in the end. Supercell is going to lose his BKB. His Aegis is still up, but everyone else is getting pushed away as Tame Wild splash damage going to town. Double kill for the Dragon as Supercell is going to try to charge on forward. Has to deal with the spinning Juggernaut with the double damage rune, though. Supercell's not going to win that engagement as Tame Wild's ready to go for more. The Blink Dragon Tail is going to catch up to Mastermind. There it is. Puck going to get glimpsed right back into his death. A full 5-man wipe, 6 if you count the Aegis. Plus the Rebels side take the last hit on Roche, so they get another big surge in golden experience. This is looking rather over for the PRIES side, and man, just that one fight on the bottom lane. I don't know if you want to blame the Vengeful Spirit for the swap or the IO for the relocate, or both for using both. But that was a fight that they couldn't afford to lose, and if they win that bottom lane fight, if they take it a little bit better, for sure they would be looking at least confident in this game, but now it just seems like they don't have anything going for them anymore.
Absolutely. I wouldn't blame them for those sort of plays. Like, it just goes to show how much respect they're showing Rebels right now. Like, they are trying to sort of outplay Rebels with these super quick instant plays to try and save their allies and thinking that they were going to be able to keep them alive, whereas it cost them a huge part of the game. I don't really think I can see Priest in any sort of position to be able to contest Rebels anymore. There's a BKB on the DK, so he's practically unstoppable. Like, everyone on Rebels is just so tanky. They're so loaded with items. We saw Seedoy, his summons annihilated the CK after he came back from with the Aegis. Like, that was just absolutely insane. This CK is supposed to be the tankiest, the most farmed hero, or not really most farmed. It's actually the Puck that's more farmed because he's picked up a hand of Midas, but he's supposed to be the frontliner for the team. And if he goes down that quickly, like, you can definitely see the supports just going down in a couple of hits.
And now we have level 16 acquired on the DK, so he's got that cold effect, making it so that CK just running people down is going to be all the more difficult. They're going to jump in with the Slaughter, land a 2-man crush, but Healing Ward is still up, so no big deal. Glimpse back onto Mikey, back into a Dragon Tail, and a couple of right clicks. They'll take him down. Supercell's going to initiate onto Tame. Wow, that's not the target you want to go for. The Dragon is going to stand his ground. Supercell, you can see, not attacking anyone, is going to fall to the Omni Slash, which is going to bounce over to the Venge. Coil's going to drop onto a whole bunch of heroes with the crush there as well, but it may be too little too late. They'll take down only the Earth Spirits so far. Everyone else on Rebels still happy, including Tame Wild, going to work down that IO. They're going to take down the Disruptor and now bash up Seedoy with another crush as well, but still, it's the Dragonite and the Juggernaut you have to address, and they haven't. They're gonna tap out. GG is called, and Rebels in 28 minutes are going to, well, maybe come back a little bit, but have a pretty solid game for game 1.
If you're Praise, you gotta sit down with the team and just give them a bit of a prep talk. They actually had a reasonable game up against Rebels in the early portions. They did pretty good with the lanes. They didn't really lose them. They were able to stay equal. At some point, they did hit their power curve and go for a couple of good rotations, but I think it's just, at the end of the day, Rebels, even though they were taking all this aggression, they made more or less the correct decisions most of the time, which kept them in the game. They could take objectives. They just out-mind gamed and outplayed Priest to a certain degree, where even though Priest had that minor lead during the early portions of the game, it wasn't really enough to really carry them through that middle portion of the series, at least. So, Priest, show us what you can do in game 2. Can you bring it up and make it a 1-to-1?
It does come down to Rebels knowing their draft, knowing that they can push regardless of losing X amount of heroes in Y time. And I mean, you know your heroes, you know your draft, execute properly, pretty easy win, easy game there. So guys, I'm Mike Lorsman, joined by Danley for game 1. We'll be right back in just a little bit for game 2 in the Game On Invitational. Don't go anywhere.